Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Thursday, November 21st. It is 6:22 right now. Market's gonna open in about 8 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. Good. One last thing. And we are good to go. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. The link is sent out. Looks good. All right, looks like we are good to go here. So as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. Daily chart. Going down to the 8 hour. Going down to the 4 hour. Going down to the 2 hour. Going down to the 1 hour. Going down to the 30 minute. Down to the 15. 10 minute. 1 minute. And we are good to go. All right, guys, so I marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is at 43,720. Price is right there. Closest level of liquidity below is at 43,650. So we got liquidity kind of sitting on both areas over here. We got the lower end of liquidity down here is a lot just sitting in the same area. We got a couple up here as well. We got liquidity on both sides. So price can really go either way today. We got more sessions down below. I think these are all the sessions right here. They're all jumbled up in this one area. We got the New York high, Asia high, London high, pretty much all stacked up around this lower area right here. So we'll see if that's an issue, or if not, price might just blast through that area. What might happen is price might come down, bounce off this area, come right back up, or price might just go straight up from here. I guess we'll see what happens in the next couple minutes or so. Looks like price might just consolidate here for a minute and then start moving as we get closer to market open. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, November 21st. It is 6:26 right now. Market's going to open up in about 3 minutes. I'll know the direction of the breakout in about 3 minutes. And we'll be ready to go. Let's see, as you wait for that, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up some levels here, just so that we have an idea of like where price is currently sitting. All right, so there's a current range right now. Price is just sitting in between the 750 and the 650 price point. So there goes a clean chart. You guys can see the range is currently moving right now down this middle area. Price is ranging. It's been ranging since about 4 o'clock this morning. Looking over here at the SR chart, let me see if we got some zones here. Got a zone right there. Zone right there. There. Basically the zone down here. See if there's anything else above. I don't think so. All right. So here are the SR zones. Price is pretty much ranging around this middle area as well. Lines up pretty much with the clean chart. So we got the zones right here down the middle. Price is kind of just going back and forth. We got the zones right here on the clean chart. And here is our main chart right here as well. So I'll know the direction of the breakout in about 30 seconds, guys. I'll go from there. Hey, Lila, morning. Hey, William, morning. William said he woke up this morning with his PA account being reset. For once, I'm lucky. Apparently, they reset all the accounts yesterday because he blew his PA accounts. Yeah, Rhythmic had issues yesterday, so I think they just reset everyone who was on Rhythmic for the most part. Ninja Trader had no issues, so they didn't do anything to them, but Rhythmic, unfortunately, they didn't do anything. They should have just reset everything, but it's all good. All right, guys, the direction for the breakout today is going to be a buy. Direction for the breakout today is going to be a buy. Got market opening up in about 40 seconds. Got 30 seconds till market open. 20 seconds till market open. 10 seconds till market open. We got market opening up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Market is open. All right, didn't get the best entry point, but order filled. Try to fix this here. 72. I caught a little bit of some slippage there on entry, but it's okay. And 22 down here. All right, so we got some choppiness here on open. Come back over here real quick. Price is bouncing off that lower level of liquidity right there. All right, unfortunately, the breakout for today hit stop loss, guys. Man, I don't know what's up with the market. The choppiness is still there in the morning. We had a win for the breakout yesterday, and then we had a loss for today. So unfortunately, that was just a loss for the day there. Yeah, that was a big spike right there on that candle. So we had a pretty big candle right here on open, and I thought this here was going to spike back up. I mean, it looked like it was going to, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back up right here from where it's currently at. This candle here was actually huge. So either way, this candle here would have been a buy regardless, because this candle here was just such a big red candle. So even if we were applying the other model, we would still take the opposite. This candle here was just a little too big, and price ended up spiking right through. Yeah, this candle here is 53 points. The 629 candle. So it doesn't matter which model we would have used. Either way, it still would have been a buy. So it's all good. Loss for the breakout today, win for the breakout yesterday. We'll take another breakout tomorrow, see if you could recoup some of that, and then we'll go from there. Now I'm gonna start looking for some scalps here as we continue to follow along. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing comes all the way back up. It looks like price just faked out down here, and then it's gonna swing all the way back up. It's just that big choppy manipulation right here on open. See how far I pushed down from. down about 70 points. And we'll see if it swings back up from here. All right, so breakout's done. I'm gonna start looking for some scalps here. See if there's any more SR zones down below. Yeah, these candles are huge. So these initial candles right here on open, they're pretty big. We got a, this one's about 33 points. Actually, it's more. It's about 45 points. See how price reacts to the support level down here. So that support level right there is in line with the clean level down here, the 600 mark. Let's go over to our main chart. We'll see if this holds. So if this ends up holding down here, I can start looking for some possible scalps down below. It's just not looking too consistent because you can see here that price is trying to go down, but it's also trying to swing back up. We had a big spike right here, price spiked down. And then from this lower low right here, spiked all the way back up to this point right here. So this huge candle was about a 75 point spike within less than a minute. So we'll see where this ends up going from here. And it looks like price here is just going to consolidate for a little bit until it ends up pushing to a direction. Okay, let me measure this from this point. So even if we took a breakout for a sell here, it looks like it hasn't hit the 100 points yet. And it looks like it's about to. There it goes, price drops lower. Still not looking for any scalps here. I need to see a confirmation of the direction. It's almost down there. So before market open, I mentioned, there was a lot of liquidity sitting down here, and there was a lot of sessions down here. So what might happen right here is price might come down to the sessions, take out and swing right back up. There's just a lot of red flags down here where price will likely get manipulated from. Just down this whole area right here. So that liquidity right there just got hit. That's at the New York high. Then we have the Asia high right here. And then we had London low down here, or London high down here as well. Clean up this liquidity right there. Liquidity just got knocked out. Yeah, we're getting a big spike of volatility right now. Let me check CNBC. I know we had news this morning. Target shares plunged 20% after discounter cut forecasts. So there's breaking news over here from CNBC. It says stocks rise Thursday. I mean, obviously the market's doing the opposite. It says stocks rise Thursday. This was announced at 6:30, and obviously price did not go higher. It came way far down. Yeah, that was released about a few minutes ago. Target's not part of the YM. Well, let's check the overall right now. So the overall Dow is currently down 2 points. Trying to see if there's any other catalyst here. I know there's news at 7 o'clock. So over here, we had continuing jobless claims pretty much this morning. It was mixed. We had some positive news, some negative news. And then over here as well, we had the existing home sales, which is coming up at 7 o'clock. So we got some high impact news coming at 7. We'll see how price reacts to that. So price is now below the sessions right here. We had a huge spike right here to the downside. I mean, all these candles over here are pretty big, which is not something that we've typically seen lately. Lately, price has kind of just been sitting down the middle. A Let's see. CJ said that's a pretty big wick at 6:32. I wonder if that is a delayed reaction to the 5:30 news because it didn't move like this. Yeah, I know. I looked over here at the 5:30 news this morning. There was like no reaction to it at all. So the news is right here at 5:30, and there was actually no movement. It's pretty slow. And then right here, price just came crashing down. The news at 5:30 was pretty mixed though. So we had continuing jobless claims, which was like slightly below. Um, Everything else was positive though. Anyways, we'll see what happens here with the existing home sales that happen a little later. There's no entries for me to take here right now specifically. 60. I guess there could have been a market flow V2 that could have been taken right here, but that was in the direction of our breakout, so I wouldn't have taken that right there. So we got price coming down kind of hard right now. Looks like it's trying to wipe out all the liquidity that's down here below. So liquidity right there got hit, more liquidity right here got hit. At this point, I would be careful with taking these sells because price is heavily overextended. If you measure from this higher high right here down to here, price like within a few minutes just dropped about 262 points. The crazy thing is that there's not too much of a catalyst here that really pushed price down like that. I mean, there was the Nvidia news, but the Nvidia news was positive. It was better than expected. Other than that, there's not really too much. About 2 minutes ago at 6:37, it said stocks open higher on Thursday. So it opened higher, but it didn't necessarily continue to climb in that direction. It just ended up coming crashing down from that point. So let's see. Yeah, I'll be careful taking these sells here right now just because of the current market conditions. Edge laptop. Switch over to my scalping. All right, so liquidity right there is done with. This liquidity over here looks like it got slightly pushed down at least 15 points. So there's a couple different entries here that you could possibly look for. I guess one of the main ones would probably be a market flow V2 that could happen right here. But again, the problem is that price is heavily overextended. So market flow V2, if you guys are looking to take that, would happen right here at the 40 mark. It's a tricky market right now. I mean, obviously you want to continue to ride the sell to the downside, but the problem with this here is that it's so far down already. Yeah, I don't know. Looking at the analysis from this morning, I would have thought of a buy here. Really, I didn't really think a sell would happen because the 1 minute was bullish, 5 minute was bullish, 10 minute was bullish. Everything just pretty much crashed down on this one candle here. This 10 minute candle was just so huge. Here, let me see. Let me measure this. So this is really the candle that made the big move right here. This 10 minute candle right here dropped. It dropped 240 points. Everything else was bullish at the time. So this big spike right here was really, I mean, I would consider it really unusual for the most part. Yeah, that candle was just really big compared to, because everything was bullish. That's why for me with the breakout, I felt comfortable taking the buy there. 10 minute was bullish, 5 minute was bullish, 1 hour is bullish. The 4 hour here and the daily were kind of mixed, but for the most part, everything was pretty much bullish. The 4 hour was actually bullish too. So initially before that candle dropped, it was up here. So it looked like everything was shifting to a buy, but I mean, it is what it is. We have to adapt with the uncertainty right here in the market. Again, we're still, I mean, we should be looking for sells right now, but you might want to be a little careful with the entries because of the so the market flow B2 never filled right here. We're still looking for sells because the direction of the breakout right now is a sell. I mean, not the breakout. The direction of the trend right now is a sell, but it's just a little. It's in a bit of a tricky area because of the overextension. Like I want to see some sort of retracement here first before I start looking for any sells because this can easily just start to reverse to the upside. Opening price was right here. So there could be a correction back to opening price. All right, so no scalps taken yet, guys. Again, if you want to take a market flow V2, entry is going to happen right here at the 500 mark, actually. So this right there would be a market flow V2. I'm not taking, I'm going to wait on it because like I said, I want to see some sort of retracement first before I take any entries here. So I'm not in this position. I just marked it up for you guys if there's anybody who's looking to take it. If you want to be on the safer side, you could have entered right here at the 10 mark instead, a little higher. Yeah, I'm not in this position right here. I'm gonna take it out of the way so you don't think I'm in it. Like I said, I'm waiting for the retracement right here before I start looking for any actual entries because price is way overextended at this point. It's down 200. Let's measure it now. It's down now 273 points. So this thing is way too hard right now from where it's currently at. It's down way too heavy. So what I'd be looking for here now is I'll look for this retracement. Once I get this retracement right here, I'll look for the continuation. And then I'll take it down here. All right, so I'll wait to see how price reacts to this area right here. I want it to come back down. If it comes back down, great. I'll look for that continuation. So I'll look for the entry down here, but I'm not going to take this first one because I need that retracement. This thing is down about 300 points at this point. It's way too far to keep dropping. You know, usually overextensions around like 150 to 200. This is down double that. All right, let's see. Let's just see how this reacts to it. So price is currently at the sessions right here. Typically when price gets to the sessions like that, one of two things happen. Price either bounces off it, comes back down. That's one scenario. The other scenario is price breaks above it, corrects back to opening price. Third scenario is price just kind of sits around this area for a while before it breaks out either direction. So there's three different scenarios, three too many scenarios right now. You just want to see how price reacts to this here. So wait and see what happens here, whether price bounce off it, breaks above it, or consolidates around this area. Once you have that, you can start looking for other scenarios moving forward. But right now, that's kind of what we got at the moment. See, Jason said to see how the market was moving free. So let's see. So looking at the session over here. So Jason said Asia session was down. I don't see it down right here, Jason. Asia session was actually consolidating because market opened right here for Asia and it closed in the same spot. So this was consolidation for Asia. London session over here, price consolidated a little bit and then it came up here. So Asia session was a range. Obviously, you can see here it's pretty clear. Price went sideways. London session went to the upside. So with this going to the upside, for New York, it either would have reversed or it would have, yeah, for the most part, it would have just reversed. But it would have reversed to the upside because price came back down right here. So this would have came down right here during this point when it came up. So that's why I don't like that analysis that you use, Jason, because it's not always like it's very subjective. It kind of depends on how you look at it. Jason likes to look at the AMD model, basically. Specifically, like if Asia ranges, it says London manipulation, which obviously manipulated here, and it's supposed to be New York reversal. The problem with that here is that you're supposed to look at what happens, not necessarily with this pattern, but you're supposed to look at what happens here. So if you're looking at a New York reversal, price is coming down slightly, it's supposed to reverse back up. So I mean, it can mean both things. Like if you're looking for the reversal this way, like price gets to a high point and then it reverses down, that could be one way of analyzing it. But from the rules of that specific type of analysis, you're supposed to look at what happens here during New York session. So like say, for example, if this thing kept pushing up, then you'd look for the reversal to the downside. But this thing was already pushing down from this point, and you look for the reversal to the upside. So yeah, I mean, it could have went both ways. I mean, for example, right here, price is starting to come right back up, right? So like I said earlier, the analysis for that AMD is not necessarily going to line up because it should have went up, but it ended up coming down first before coming up because it's coming right back to where it's supposed to go, right? So the AMD model here did not play out like how it's supposed to because if it's reversing, it's got to go one way the entire time. Like it's got to go down like that, or it's got to go up like that. This here didn't play out like that. This is more of a big range. So now it's New York range. So yeah, that's why I don't like using those types. I like using stuff that's more of objective where you don't really have to like, there's no guesswork, right? Like the thing with the strategies that we're applying here, it's all objective. Like the breakout is based directly off the momentum signal. So you can't really mess it up because it is it moves in the direction that it needs to. So right here, price is pushing back up. Looks like price here just, basically faked out all the way down here to wipe out this whole area where the liquidity was sitting this morning. And now it's coming all the way back up to where it was supposed to go because it was supposed to be bullish. Even with your analysis, Jason, it's supposed to be bullish. And that's kind of what I was hoping for, but it is what it is. So here we go as price pushes all the way back up. And now we'll see if price continues to climb up higher. Looking over here, so this is what I was looking at earlier this morning. So see here on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10 minute, everything's bullish, right? So that's why when I took the breakout this morning, I was like, okay, this looks good because 1 minute's bullish, 5 minutes bullish, 10 minutes bullish, 1 hour is bullish, and the 4 hours bullish. Everything here looks bullish, right? But this whole fake out right here happened initially. I mean, it is what it is. This happens sometimes, right? The market's not always going to move the direction that you're planning on it moving. This here ended up spiking down so heavily, and then now it's coming back to where it was supposed to be. Because I anticipated this to be bullish to begin with. Since we had, I mean, pretty much all the time frames here were bullish for the most part. So I'll try to look for some scalps here for some buys. I mean, price is it's back to where it needs to be. So I'll try to look for a scalp here. We do have news at 7 o'clock, so it is coming up shortly. In about 8 minutes. Yeah, thanks, CJ. We got existing home sales, I believe. Yeah, we got existing home sales for the month and month over month. They're both forecasted to be positive, so we'll see how that works. That's where you want to be careful with the manipulation too, because 10 minutes before news, typically the market starts to move in the direction of where news is supposed to be forecasted. But here we go. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case earlier where we wanted price to push up. Now we are just moving back to open. Here we go and see what happens here at the sessions. So again, like I mentioned earlier, you want to see how price reacts to the sessions at this point because there was three different scenarios that could play out. Price could have bounced off here and continued down lower. The other scenario, which is actually playing right now, is price coming back up and climbing up higher. The third scenario is still possible because price hasn't really pushed away from where it's currently at. Price can still sit within this area here and consolidate before it actually breaks out. So we don't have any entries here right now. My guess is that price is probably going to keep climbing though. The one thing that I would focus on is looking at the pivot. So once the pivots cross over, then you could probably start to see that climbing up higher from there. So for example, here, like when the pivot starts to fan out right here, you can see how it starts to push up. Same with this right here, the pivot starts to fan out, pushes down. Pivots over here didn't really fan out to the upside. Pivots right here fanned out to the downside. I mean, this is a mess though. This is opening candle. So what I would look for here is if you're looking for a buy, look for basically all of these pivots to be above the red pivot. Once you have all the pivots above the red pivot, the odds of it climbing up higher are very likely because the pivots here are going to start to confirm that the trend is shifting. But it looks like price might just sit here for a little bit until the news here at 7 o'clock. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to news. News is going to happen in about 5 minutes, so I'm probably not going to take any entries here. I'll wait for some sort of confirmation. And this whole week's been kind of trash for the most part. Um, yeah, this week hasn't been the best week for market conditions at all. All right, so we got the pushback right here. Here's the SR chart. All right, so it looks right here on the SR chart price is, I mean, the actual range looks like it's going to sit down here. So price kind of faked out both ways, faked out below here, pulled back into the range, faked out above here, and then now it's pulling back into this lower range. We'll see what happens when news passes here at 7 o'clock. One or two things are likely to happen right here. So price is either going to stay within this range below, or news is going to push price in a direction. So we have news coming up in about 3 minutes. Price will either push above, or it might just bounce right here, come back in this area, and then stay within this area up here. Because this is the original range. So the original range is actually right here, right? That's the original range. The new range is kind of down here. News happens at 7 o'clock. So if price pushes all the way back up here, you might just sit within this area. This is the SR chart. Looking at our clean chart over here. So with the clean chart, And you can see from the market, it's a messy market today. It's super messy. There's no direction. I mean, price is really there's a huge range here, but there's just no direction, right? You can kind of see the direction a little better here on the SR chart because we have the zones kind of split up a little bit. But from the clean chart over here, you can see that it's a mess. Like it's a huge mess. Market open right here at 6:30. So look, we could even take this off because this wasn't really, or I guess technically that first one could have been there. Or no, actually no. This whole upper range prices never hasn't been up here all session. Price has really just been down here. So realistically, the range for today is down here. So it's a big, like price initially dropped down from this point. This is the 6:30 candle when market opened. And this is the actual range for today. I'll mark up 6:30 here. All right, we got news happening in about 50 seconds. So my analysis from earlier, now it's pushing to the third analysis. So if you guys remember earlier when price was at the sessions, when price is right here, I said there's three things that will happen around this area. Price will either bounce off here and come down lower. That didn't work out. Second scenario was price will push up and continue climbing. That didn't work out. The third scenario is that price will just consolidate here for a little bit and eventually it'll break out of this area, right? So this is the scenario that actually played out. Price here is consolidating. Now that price is consolidating within this area, expect a breakout to happen in either direction. Like I said, we have the news happening in a few seconds right now, in about 10 seconds. In about 10 seconds, we'll see what happens, how market reacts to this existing home sales news. It's high impact news, so it's supposed to be a catalyst for market. So there goes the news event right there. There goes the news. Price is still sitting within this area. Eventually, just expect a breakout to happen at some point. So just wait for price to break out of this area. Once price breaks out of that area, the odds are price is going to continue in that direction. So right here, the news was positive. It was very positive, actually. So existing home sales month over month is up 3.4%. Existing home sales for the month of October is up to 3.96. So ideally here, price should push up if price does move where it's supposed to. Again, news doesn't necessarily direct price specifically. It can go either direction. Y'all's asking no audio. I think the audio should be working fine. It's probably on your end, y'all. So you might have to turn up your volume. Um, let's see. So price again is sitting right here at the sessions. At this point, look to see how price reacts to this area. So don't jump into it. Just because price breaks below, don't chase for a sell. If price breaks above, don't chase for a buy. Look for a confirmation. So you got to actually wait for that confirmation to happen. There's a couple of things you can look at. You can look at the momentum divergence down here, see if that starts to shift to the upside. Look for the actual momentum up here. That shifts to the upside. Look for the trend here to see if this here continues to climb down lower. But you can see the reaction to the news wasn't very heavy. There's going to be a reaction eventually. It's just not there yet. It's still kind of just sitting flat. And I'm kind of over this trading week. This trading week hasn't been the best with regard to consistency in the market. We got Thanksgiving next week. Yeah, we got Thanksgiving next week. I was hoping this week would be a little more directional since we have Thanksgiving next week, because next week's probably gonna be a lot slower, but I feel like the market this year is just very unpredictable. For one, we had I mean, we had Biden for the whole year. We still have Biden this year. So the whole year has been kind of slow. It's like a sleepy market. Elections just passed, so now we're having more of a volatility, but I mean, we're still up in this chop right now. There's just no direction. There's volatility, but it's not necessarily great, right? Because we have some market opener here at 6:30. You can see obviously the volatility here isn't like the best. I mean, the volatility is good where price is pushing, but it's just too choppy. So market open right here. Let me go and measure price. So the actual price movement so far from market open is about 100 points. We had a big push right here on open. This is good for our breakout when the breakout's in our direction, but price did push about 200 points right there. But from opening price to here, the actual direction of price has only pushed about 100 points. And this is probably going to pull right back to opening price anyways. So eventually when price is out of this area, it's probably going to push up and climb back to the opening price there. Another thing that's been an issue this week is execution times, right? So we took our scalps earlier this week and the execution times have been horrible, right? Like I've been taking market orders and I'm off by like 7 points. Like that never happens. Some people with Rhythmic had issues. I think some people blew accounts because their data wasn't even up. Like they would get into a position and then they couldn't get out. It's crazy. It's really, really unusual to see that stuff, especially on the futures market, because it doesn't usually happen. So yeah, Barack over here said this week has really had so many issues from his network issues, Rhythmic issues, family engagements. At this point, Barack is looking forward to Friday to usher in the weekend and start again on Monday. Yeah, no, same here, Barack. I mean, we waited pretty much all this week to take the breakout because the breakout wasn't coming up for the whole week, basically. So Monday, Tuesday, no breakout. Yesterday, no breakout, but the breakout did hit yesterday. Today, we took the breakout finally and didn't play out. And we just got caught in this big spike. But again, there's always going to be weeks like that, you know. The weeks aren't always going to be perfect. So I'll see tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow if the breakout wins, we'll still be net positive because we're doing a 1 to 2 risk reward. So I'll take the breakout tomorrow, and then if the breakout hits tomorrow, then we'll be back in net positive for the breakout entry. Otherwise, we're gonna have to wait for another confirmation for it to swing back. All right, looking at price right here, it's still kind of going sideways. There's no entries here at all. Again, guys, just another reminder, if you guys didn't hear yesterday, I'm going to be mentoring from now until the end of the year. So starting on Monday, we'll be having our mentoring session like we usually do at 2 p.m. It'll be more of a master class. So this is what the course looks like. If you guys have not seen the course is completely free. If you guys just want to learn the strategies, the platform, the tools that we use, the indicators that I have, just go to the website, click on the website again is kodikaitrades.com, kodikaitrades.com. Click on unlock your free access right here. This is what the course looks like. So starting on Monday next week, every Monday we're going to have a mentoring session and it's going to be a master class. So we're going to start off with module 1 and module 2. I'll be going over these two things next Monday on November 25th. I'll pretty much be going over the basics of like the Discord platform, Zoom, TradingView, NinjaTrader, Tradeovate, why I use NinjaTrader, Apex, Tradeify, copying accounts. And then because this is going to be pretty quick, we're going to go down to the basics. I'm going to show you all of the buttons here that I use on TradingView. So I'm going to show you exactly how to use TradingView. If you don't know how to do stuff on TradingView, I'll show you how to use everything on here that I use. And then I'll go over the NinjaTrader platform. I'll try to go over the NinjaTrader platform. I'm going to try to find a way to stream my laptop to Zoom. If I can, I'll try to do that. Otherwise, I'll link you to a YouTube video that will show you how to use it. Same with Tradeovate. So I'll try to show you the Tradeovate platform. I don't really use the Tradeovate platform, but it's pretty simple. Like all you really need to do is, or all you need to know how to do is just move around, like how to move your platform around, and then also how to execute trades on there. So I'll show you guys that. That's gonna be the first Monday. And then on the next Monday on December 2nd, we'll go over the more specific details. So we'll go over all of the indicators here. I'll go over the momentum indicator, trend meter, pivots, SRB2, high-low indicator, sessions indicator, SR indicator, momentum pullback scalp levels indicator, trailing stop indicator, and the momentum divergence indicator. This one's probably going to be a lot of the meat of the mentoring masterclass. And then after that, the following week, we'll go over specific strategies. So basically over the next 3 to 5 weeks, we'll go over literally everything. So if you don't know anything about trading, if you know anybody who wants to learn this stuff, I mean, feel free to hop in. It's completely free. I'm just going to be doing this. Usually at this time of the year, a lot of people have time off work due to the holidays and people want to learn. So this is just my way of giving back to you guys. I'm going to be showing you guys the basics, the platform, the tools, the websites, everything we use basically. If you guys want to get started trading, whether you trade with us or whether you trade with whoever. I mean, if you want to trade on your own or trade with a different group, feel free. But I'll be going over the basics so that people who want to learn the basics can. You just need a good foundation. If you have a good foundation, you understand how to use things. Um, I mean, you can do whatever you want from there. Whether you want to trade momentum and trend like we do, or you want to trade supply and demand, if you want to trade ICT, it's really up to you, whatever you want to do. Other than that, guys, price here still has not broken out of this consolidation range, right? So like I said, we're waiting for price to break out of this consolidation range so we can start looking for trades in that direction. So I'm looking for price to break out of this area to the upside. I'm looking for it to break out to the downside. We haven't had that yet. Price is still sitting within this middle area. And we pretty much identified this when price was over here, right? Again, make sure that you actually look for price to confirm, not necessarily like this, because you can see how price pushed out here and it pulled right back into the range. Look for price to push out, retrace, confirmation, push up to the higher side right here, basically the opening price. Same with this right here. If price breaks below, look for price to retrace, continue down to the downside. Let's see. Barack said you also had issues with the trade evade delayed execution. I don't know if it was delayed execution or if the volatility was just too high, Barack, because I got into the position, but it was Apex. I don't know if it was an Apex issue or anything like that. But yeah, it was just weird because usually when I click to get in, I might be off by like maybe a point or two, but I was off by like 7 points yesterday. So that's a big difference. And that big difference was the difference between me getting out in partial profit for 10 points, then hitting stop loss because price just ended up reversing after that. Not really reversing, but it ended up chopping within an area. And obviously the chop was a little too wide and I got stuck in the position. Lila said, what time, please? Will classes be on YouTube as well? Yeah. So Lila, the classes will be every Monday at 2 p.m. So for the next, basically until the end of the year, Mondays at 2 p.m., I'll have the mentoring session, and the mentoring session will be held as a master class. So if you want to review it later, Lila, if you can't attend that session, that's completely fine. I'll create a playlist, and there'll be about like 3 to 5 videos of me going through the entire, well, not the entire course, but basically the stuff that matters. Because this is stuff from the futures aspect of things. But if you want to go back further, there's like so many other things here to look at. If you want to go back to the older course, that covered a lot of forex stuff and everything pretty much applies. So it's not set to just that, but I'm gonna keep it pretty concise where we only cover stuff that's relevant. All right, so yeah, that's correct, Lila. So 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. No problem. Yeah, and if you know anybody else who, wants to learn or any of that stuff, they're free to look at it because it's going to be completely free. I'll be streaming it on YouTube, but I'll also be streaming it on Zoom. Obviously, if you're on the Zoom, you'll have it real time, but and the quality will be better. And I'll probably record it too, just so that I have better quality to repost it at a later time if necessary. All right, so we're getting price to push up right here. Again, you want to wait for a confirmation, guys. So same thing here might happen where price faked out, price came up, came back down. You want to look for, you basically want to look for a low to be established. So you want price to push up. We'll get a high here, let price come down, establish a low, and then push back up higher. So I know some of you guys know how to do that. Not everyone knows how to do that, but just look at the high-low indicator. This is the whole reason why I created this high-low indicator so that you can see where direction starts to become established. So we have liquidity sitting right there and right there. So basically you want a high here to be established. You want it to come down, establish a low, and then come back higher. All right, so liquidity right there got hit. Looks like price is trying to reach back to opening price, which is this blue line. Again, I haven't taken any scalps yet, guys. There's no scalps here to take. $7.13 right now. We still have some time until 8, so we still have some time here to look for some entries. It's just I gotta wait for that confirmation. Price is finally breaking out of this area. So we have a bit of a confirmation here. I wouldn't say this is a full-on confirmation, but we do have price that's pushed pretty far out of this range right here, or this consolidation. So that breakout that I told you guys about here is finally happening. It's pushing to the upside. Check the 5-minute. So here's one thing, and I've been looking at this yesterday. So yesterday I was really looking at this to see, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it usually indicates a initial reversal. So looking at this right here, see how we have a lower low? It doesn't matter if it's a lower low or if it's a lower high or whatever it is. It just has to be a low. So one thing that I noticed, it works better when you see a V1 variation. So if you see a low right here and the momentum divergence is already bullish. So if you look at this right here, so we have a low right here, and then you see the divergence right here is already shifting. Typically, if this happens, this usually indicates that, okay, price is going to reverse to the other side. So that's something that I was looking at yesterday. I mean, you can put that together as a strategy if you want, but it's just a confluence that I started to notice. So for example, right here, we have a high, but the momentum divergence is bullish, right? So this doesn't necessarily mean a reversal is going to happen. What I would look for is I would look for a high point, and then I'd look for the divergence right here to be bearish like this. So you got a bearish divergence and price is at a high point. That's basically two confluences that indicate that, okay, price is ready to reverse because price, for one, is overextended. It's ready to turn. And then you have a high point right there to identify the ceiling. So just something to look at. Whenever I find something, I'll tell you guys about it. I've been looking at that pretty much all last night. I was thinking, okay, maybe this would be a good way to identify very good V1 variations. And I do think it's pretty good. Like, for example, there's no V1 variations here, but if I had one, yeah, there's no V1 variations here. Because they don't happen very often, but when they do happen, they typically reverse pretty hard. If I ever see one, I'll look at that. But the divergence down here does help because it kind of gives you a head start as to when price starts to shift a little bit. Oh yeah, no, definitely, Lila. Yeah, no, same here. I agree with you. Teaching is hard. That's why I don't really like to teach as much. Like teaching takes a lot of effort. But like every time like for example, right now we're running the hedge. So like when I meet with a lot of clients that are part of the hedge or who've been part of K2 for a while, um, there's some people who still want to learn. So, and it's hard to find someone who can teach you or mentor you that's like legitimate, who's been trading for a while. It's crazy. I've been seeing a lot of I've been seeing a lot of people who just started trading and they're starting to teach people already, which I think is cool. I mean, it's cool if you want to teach your friends and family, but I've seen people like there was a guy who was in our community. I'm not going to name him, but obviously I'm not going to name him. But he's only been trading for like about a year now, and he's not profitable. I know he's not profitable because he's always DMing me telling me that he's blowing his accounts. Um, so yeah, there's someone that's been in our he's it was in our group before. He's been trading for about a year and he's not profitable, but he needs money, right? He needs money to keep buying these prop accounts and stuff. So what he's been doing is he's been teaching people how to trade and he's charging a lot. Like he's charging like a couple $1,000 to teach them like how to trade. But it's crazy like learning trading from someone who doesn't actually know how to trade. So I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, that's his hustle, but I think it's crazy to see that. I see it happen a lot, especially like with people on Instagram and stuff. Like you'll see someone who was like teaching e-commerce before. They were teaching people how to sell on Amazon, and then all of a sudden they're YouTube, they're trading mentors now. Like, how does that even happen? Um, when you get in the space of like this space, like if you're teaching, if you're a mentor, or if you're doing something and you start to meet other people, it's crazy because you'll meet people who will bounce from thing to thing. They'll do like and there's nothing to enter here, guys, so don't worry. I'm looking for entries as well. There's people who will bounce from like doing whole state real estate, yeah, whole state real estate or real estate wholesale. I see people do that and then they bounce from that to like e-commerce selling on Amazon and they bounce to selling to eBay and they just sell courses on all these things. It's crazy. They do real estate, Airbnb. Like whenever something fails, they just do something else. Like Airbnb was like the big thing before. Airbnb is like pretty much outlawed in a lot of areas here or around the world. So people stopped doing Airbnb. Then they did wholesale real estate, and then they do Amazon e-commerce, and then they do eBay e-commerce. And if you guys remember, Walmart e-commerce was a big thing like last Christmas or two Christmases ago. And then now everyone's kind of like going towards trading, which I think is crazy. Uh, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to see that. And I've been in the trading space for like I've been teaching and mentoring and trading full time for about 8 years now. So I see people come and go all the time. Trading's not easy. Whoever like if anybody tells you trading is easy, they're straight lying for sure. And a lot of you guys know that by now because trading is not that easy. Like even for myself, I've been trading for about 8, 10 years. The thing is you have to adapt with the market, right? Like same with our breakout entry. With our breakout entry, we have to adapt with the market because it's not always going to be moving the same. So you can learn something like say 2 or 3 years ago, and odds are that that style of well, not necessarily that style, but like that strategy is probably not going to work as well because you can use the same strategy, but you have to make small adaptations to the market. Yeah, William said, I can't stand people who start teaching and are not really that good. They make more money from selling courses. Yeah. It's not even that. The fact that like I don't mind that people make money selling courses. I mind the fact that people are teaching bad information with trading. Like it's crazy. If you go on YouTube or you go on Instagram, you'll see people teaching some crazy strategies like like break and retest is a good pattern, but you have to know which structures to identify break and retest from, right? There's just so many different like you have to actually know how to read the market. You can't just look at any break and retest. Like I'm trying to look at an example here. So like a good example for a break and retest is something like this, price breaking and retesting off the pivots, right? That's something that's probably not going to go anywhere. But I see a lot of people who like will create some like random strategies where it's where it's not even retesting anything. Like you could probably see it better on the clean chart. You'll see people who will say something like, let me just blank this out. And I only know this because I saw this video on YouTube recently. This guy was trying to teach supply and demand, but he like wasn't explaining how to identify supply and demand properly. He was just like, if you see a big candle like this, like any big candle, draw like a box around it. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. He was like, look for price to break and retest the big box like that. But the thing is, like, it doesn't always work out that way. Like, it works that way on in some instances, but if you look at different times when that happens, Like, for example, it's probably not a good example because this is like Asia session, but like something like this right here. Because I was watching a YouTube video, it just came up on my ads. He's like, yeah, whenever you see a big box like this, draw a box on the second box. And then when it comes back to retest it, enter from there. So he would enter from like down here, and I'm like, that doesn't work all the time. And then he'd have a crazy big stop loss and a crazy big TP. Like sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. But that's another reason why I think supply and demand is hard to teach to a beginner and it's hard to teach to like most people. I mean, there's indicators for it now, but I think being able to identify structure like that is kind of difficult. That's why for me, I just like using my tools here because I can base everything off the tools since they don't repaint. Um, they don't repaint once they're already established. All right, so there's still no entries here, guys. I mean, I'm still looking for something here. Yeah, iPhone said people might as well play roulette if that's how people are trading. Yeah, the thing with trading is that, there's a lot of different strategies out there, but there's a lot of strategies out there, but you just have to like understand how to make things flow with each other. Um, and you want to use a strategy that people are using that's been working for a long period of time. Like for example, these strategies that we're applying here, basically all the scalp strategies, we've been doing these same scalp strategies for years now. There might be small little adjustments that I've made to them, like adding confluence or adding red flags or any of that stuff. But the thing is, it's been a tried and true strategy where we've been doing it for years. So, just look out for who you guys are learning from. That's the main thing. You don't have to learn from me, but if you're gonna learn from someone, make sure you vet them and that they've been, they've actually been trading for a while. Because the thing is, like, you could get lucky at trading, and I'm sure that's happened with a lot of you guys. It's happened with me sometimes, where I get lucky, where I just take a bad trade or I FOMO into a trade and it still wins. But to be consistent that way is like it's like almost impossible. You have to have some sort of trading plan, some sort of game plan to stay consistent in the market. CJ said, what if someone was charging people for the info in your course, but instead your indicators, they were using general public indicators? Yeah, no, I've seen that before. That's kind of like one of the reasons why I stopped teaching for a while because I got kind of annoyed with there's people who would go into the course. Like I've seen other courses where they copy basically all of my stuff here. But it's funny because I went into their course and they copied basically all my stuff. But then when you ask them a question like, oh, how does this work? How does that work? They don't really know how to explain it. They kind of just avoid the question because it's not their course. They didn't put it together. Um, there's a lot of people actually on YouTube that have done that. I mean, you can pretty much, if you look up any trader, like you can look up literally any trader you want. If you go to YouTube, I don't know, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to, I'm not here to hate on people, but if you go to YouTube, you could search up like any trader, like you could put their name there and then put exposed, and then there will be a lot of videos on there of people exposed. Um, yeah, you could find, that's probably the easiest way to find if someone is legitimate or not. I just look myself up to see if I have any exposed here. No, I mean, there's no exposing for me because the thing is, I've been trading live, so I try to look myself up. But Kodi Kai trades exposed. I don't see anything here for people exposing me. The thing with me is I've been trading live I mean, it's hard to expose me, right? Because I've been trading live for years now. So if you want to see how I actually trade, there's like I have 1,000 live sessions of myself, 1,800 live sessions of me trading. So like you can't really fake live trading if I'm doing the same thing every single day. Obviously, some days are profitable, some days are not. Um, yeah. And that's just a, rule of thumb, guys. So I just want to make sure you guys are not getting scammed out there. Whether you guys are learning from me or not, I don't care if you learn from me or if you learn from anyone else on YouTube or Instagram. It's just do your own due diligence because there's a lot of people out there who are scamming. Anyways, guys, there's nothing happening here. As you can see, I was looking for price to confirm or confirmation to the upside. Price is still within this middle area. So as I mentioned earlier, I said when price breaks out of this area, look for a low to be established and a new high, but that didn't actually happen, right? You can see this high over here was below this one. So looking at this right here, so what I was looking for is I was looking for a low, and I was looking for a high, and I was looking for a new low, and then I was looking for a high to go past this high right here, right? So I was looking for a high to go past this high because once you have that confirmation, then you have this. Then you have this pattern that we're looking for. But you can see here that didn't actually happen. Price ended up coming back down into the same range that we just talked about earlier. So price started from here, pushed up, pushed down, and I was hoping to break above, but it didn't. Price just came all the way back down, like an M pattern. That's another thing too. If you guys want to use my high-low indicator to just identify M pattern and W patterns, you can do that too. I mean, that's something I was doing before in the past. I just don't do it as often. But if you guys want to look for specific patterns, like for example, like I said, you can just mark up this right here. The way that the M pattern works is that you look for that M shape, and then you look for price to break and close below this part right here, like it did right there, and that's where you take your short. I don't really trade this way. This isn't my style, so I don't really trade it. I don't take entries like this, but you can see here that it works, right? There's people in the group who have used this, like they like to trade M and W patterns, and they just use my high-low indicator to identify those M and W patterns. I just don't trade that way, so I don't ever take those types of entries. But you can see that there's ways to identify entries like that. Like if you just link your arrow to these high lows, you can identify patterns. I mean, obviously this is not a pattern, but this is probably the cleanest pattern. Like the M pattern is a good reversal pattern, right? So it makes an M shape, and you're basically just looking for price to break structure right there. So if you guys want to trade this type of strategy, I mean, I can teach you guys how to do it. I don't necessarily trade this type, but I understand the strategy. So my style of trading is directional. So I look for stuff like this, or I look for stuff like this, right? But that's not the only way to trade. You can trade M patterns like this, or you can trade W patterns like this. Like if if you're a ranging trader and you like to trade in a range like that, then the M pattern and W pattern is perfect. If you like to trade the way I trade, directional, you look for stuff like this. So, I mean, you could trade both ways. You could also trade both ways if you wanted to. It's just my style of trading is to trade directional, and there's just no direction here. Price again is just sitting down this area. We got liquidity right there, just got hit. But it's right at the sessions. Yeah, exactly. CJ said instead of people using pivots, you're using random SMAs. That's like one of the biggest thing too. Like people always call these pivots moving averages, but they're not. If you guys put moving averages on the chart, they're not going to line up with my pivots. My pivots are meant to catch the bounces. They're not meant to like SMAs are meant to catch the direction of trend. The thing with the pivots here is that you can use it for both. You can use it to identify trend, but the real reason for these pivots is to identify bounces. That's why it's called the pivots because you're looking for price to pivot off these lines. The whole reason I created that indicator is to identify when I'm moving in a direction, right? So like for example here, price is now below. I'm looking for price to come down, retrace, come back down lower, retrace. Like I created this indicator for this specific reason. Um, and that's why they don't line up with SMAs because they're meant to, they're supposed to weigh price down. So for example, the way that I created this indicator, I use specific code to weigh the price down to the pivots. And you can see right there, see how price is bouncing off the pivot? One thing that I started to, or not started to notice, but one thing that I was looking at yesterday was the snipe strategy. If you guys remember the snipe strategy, that was a favorite for everyone, right? Um, so I'd be looking for a possible snipe entry. And I'll mark up some here because I was looking at the snipe entries from yesterday. They actually play out pretty nice. You just have to catch them when they actually hit, which doesn't happen very often. So for example, right here, there was a snipe entry that happened right here. Price came up, came back down. This candle rejected off the pivot right there, and it rejected off the structure, and that would have been a snipe entry right there for 30 points. So I've been revisiting the older strategies. We haven't really looked at these in a while, but yeah, there goes a snipe strategy right there. And then again, right here, there might be another snipe entry. So for example, if we get a nice wick rejection off there'd have to be a sell signal though. So, never mind. So there's no sell signal there. But basically, if you get a nice rejection off the pivot and the structure, and there's a sell signal, like there's sell momentum there, you can take that for a snipe entry. So for example, again, right here, price rejected off it. So this right here could have been an entry, and then obviously I'd use my trailing stop. So when price hit the 10 points right there, I would have stopped out for a partial. So yeah, again, if you guys haven't looked at the strategies, I'll probably include the snipe strategy in the master class. I'll just add it to the list here. Um, it's one of the directional strategies. I'll probably take off a couple of these. I'll take off momentum divergence scalp because it's just, I mean, we can learn it, but I don't like teaching it that much because it's not as clear as the others since it kind of repaints a little bit. I'll probably add the snipe strategy back on here for the directional strategies. I think the snipe strategy is pretty good. Um, so again, you need a sell signal here. So what you look for is a sell signal, look for price to retrace down, come back up, and then reject off the pivot and the SR zone, and then ride that back down further. So I'll look out for that. And I'll probably add that to the list. Otherwise, it's still on the course. So if you go down to the bottom of the course, if you go down over here, it still has a snipe strategy. You just have to look for it. Yeah, if you go over here, so go down to K2 Trade Scalping Strategies, it's right here. Snipe strategy, live demonstrations, etc. And there's still no entries for us right now. I was hoping I'd be able to find something, but still, price is sitting within the sessions right here down the middle. Yeah, Brock said, I don't think you'll ever find something reliable to use as a strategy on YouTube for free. And even if you find something that works, it'll be strategy prone to manipulation. Yeah, and I agree with you too, 100%, Brock. That's why for me, the way that we trade here, we trade very different compared to everyone else, right? Like if you guys have seen people who trade, the common things that people like to trade are supply and demand. ICT, of course, is like one of the big things. Those two strategy types, they're good to some extent, but because everybody's using them now, they get highly manipulated. It's same with like, so when I first started trading, SMA breakouts used to be like the thing, right? If you guys ever traded that before, or if you guys ever heard of those, the SMA breakouts, let me see. Like I even have a strategy where I taught this before. I mean, it probably still works, but So like the thing with this is like, I think we'd use like there's different lengths you could use. You could use like a 50 length and you look for price to break past it. So for example, here, I mean, it's a super, super simple strategy. People would just look for price to break and close past the SMA, then they would take the trade in that direction, right? Or they look for the break and retest. Price breaks below, retest it, and then they would take it down in that direction. Like that's a very simple way of applying, um, that specific strategy. And this used to be the big thing. I mean, like back then, if you guys traded a long time ago, this was like a strategy that everybody was applying, right? Price break and close below it. Then you go for like I would go for a one-to-one. A lot of people would go for like bigger moves, but you can see that the strategy still works pretty fine. It's just people don't do this anymore. It's a super simple, basic strategy, and people don't apply it as much. So it kind of regained like its profitability. I mean, looking at it here, it's actually very profitable. If you look back at my old strategies, so if you look at my old videos, like you'd have to go back like years and years and years of my videos. Let me see if I can find it. Let's go to oldest. Yeah, so I taught that strategy. Man, this is so long ago. So I have like 4 years of videos here of just live trading sessions. I think I took that video off because I didn't want people to be using it. But I did teach that strategy a long time ago. Maybe it's something that we can revisit. It actually looks like it's working pretty good for the most part. I'm gonna see how it was moving yesterday. The strategy moves very similar to like the pivots. It's just the pivots are a little more it's easier to follow because of because there's more pivots to it. So like for example, your price breaks below, retest right there. I do a 2 to 1. Price breaks above, retest right there. This is why I think a 1-to-1 probably work best. Price break below. This looks like it would hit stop loss. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways to trade, guys. There's a ton of different ways to trade. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just looking at it here, it looks like it could work to some extent. Like work pretty decent. It'd have to be like a minimal TP stop loss though. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to apply these strategies. Again, there's no entries here right now at the moment, guys. I'm still looking for something here to confirm, but there's just nothing here. Yeah, so Kenny said, take a look at the 8 EMA when it crosses your pivots indicator. I found that to be a good strategy to use. Let's see. Let's make it kind of thick. Color it black. So there we go. Yeah, so when it crosses over all of them, yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to like all of the indicators or all of the pivots crossing over the red one, right? I mean, it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty similar to it. I just made it super thick, so it's kind of blocking everything. But yeah, this, like you said, Kenny, this is very similar to what I mentioned before with the pivots. Like if all of the pivots start to fan out, That's usually where it starts to be a good time for entry. Yeah, price came below here, and then it started to fan out. The only problem with this is that when this happens, it ends up being like hard because the the entry will be super far from the previous pivot. So like depending on like where you put your TP stop loss, it's gonna be a little difficult. But yeah, no, this plays out exactly like how I was talking about earlier. So again, right here, same thing. This is what Kenny was just talking about. When this big thick pivot right here crosses over, it it becomes a good entry point. But because it's crossed over so far like that, I mean, depending on where the entry was, if the entry was right here, this might be okay because you put your stop loss right there. But if your entry is right here, yeah, the stop loss is like pretty far out, like 60 points. But yeah, no, that's a good that is a good observation right there, Kenny. It's similar to the pivots. Whenever the pivots start to fan out, like I'm saying right here, once these start to fan out, I'd actually wait a little longer for these here to the red pivot basically to go below all the other ones. I would see that as a continuation. The other way that I would look at it too is I would look for these here to fan out a little bit, and then once they fan out, look for the retest of the the pivot right there. Nice work, Aaron. So Aaron just got his 50K PA. Congrats, bro. The 50Ks are nice. If you guys want to just pass a quick Apex. So Apex is doing a promo right now, guys. I didn't announce it to you guys before, but Apex is doing a promo. So if you guys use the link that I sent, again, I have the admin link. So if you want to use Apex, I would recommend using this link here because this link gives you the biggest discount. It's currently 80% off, which is it's a pretty big discount. It's like one of the old discounts that we had. So yeah, if you use this link, or not even the link, just use this code here. It's called JJNIEOWR. If you use this link right here, you get 80% off evals. I think the expensive evals are like 50 bucks only, and then it's $85 for to move to PA. So the promo is pretty nice. If you don't use this link or you don't use this code, you're gonna have to pay full price or pay like 50% off, I think. So the promo right now is pretty good. It's running for about 5 more days. So if you guys want to use that, feel free. Um, yeah, I mean it's pretty good. I would use it if I needed any more accounts, but I don't. All right, so still nothing going on here, as you guys can see. Barack said, "Do you think we are about to break the high? Too much liquidity seated up there, I suppose." Let's see. Um, I mean, if it ever gets to that point, yeah, I would see like a lot of liquidity get hit. So if price finally gets above, like say opening price here, then ideally, yeah, I would see that. Looking over here at the at all the time frames, the 1 minute is still very bullish. 5 minute is not super bullish, but it's pretty bullish too. Pretty much all the time frames here are bullish. So I'm looking for a bullish push. We have 1 minute bullish, 5 minute bullish, 10 minute bullish, 1 hour is bullish, 4 hours switching to bullish, and the daily is bullish right now. So pretty much bullish again across all the time frames. And I mean that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting price to push up. This whole day I was expecting price to push up, but I'll just take a screenshot of this real quick. Stop loss on the breakout. See, we got some team profits here. We got Johnny. He just passed 50K, 550K counts. Johnny locked in a profit of 3,800 per account. Nice work, Johnny. So solid profits right there from Johnny. Lock in those scalps right there. So we got price finally climbing up. This is kind of what I was expecting to happen this morning. But obviously, market had other things in store for us. I don't see any scalps here. I'm trying to look for some scalps, but I just don't see any scalps here yet. I mean, technically, there could have been a market flow V2 that happened right here, but I just didn't see any direction or price, so I wasn't looking to take anything at this point. But there was a market flow V2 that could have happened. Actually, it would have never filled, and she would have happened right here at the 30, unless you took it in at the 40 mark. Yeah, there just wouldn't be any entry there. All right, so liquidity is finally getting hit right here. If you guys want to take that as a liquidity push entry, you guys can take that. But again, it's just a tricky area to be trading in. Yeah, Barack City, I thank you for the multiple time frame view. Took the break, 30 points and out. Thank you for the assist, bro. Yeah, definitely, Barack. Glad to see you locked in some profits on that. Um, yeah, no, that was a good trade, but for me, I would just consider that risky for me specifically because I don't really trust the way the market's currently sitting right now. So liquidity right there just got hit. Clean that up a little bit. It's not looking like I'm going to get any trades today, guys, unfortunately. It's okay. I'd rather be safe than sorry today, of course, especially after this like choppy week. So for today, we just took the breakout. Unfortunately, the breakout did not play through. I didn't take any other scalps here. So I've been looking for price here to finally have some sort of direction, but hasn't been too many. Price has been sitting right here for the longest in between the sessions. Price would push away from it, fake out, come back down, push away from it, fake out, come back down, etc. So it's not the best price action for this week. So the thing that I was showing you guys earlier with the SMA, so I'll show you some bad entries right now so that you guys can see it. Like earlier, it looked good because we just saw a lot of good entries, but for the most part, the strategy is not exactly that good. So for example, right here, price broke above it. So price broke above it, retested right here. And I'll just show you because the thing is, strategies will look good at sometimes, but they're not always gonna be that good. So price broke above. Entry would have happened right there. Stop loss would have been like somewhere around this area right here, say about 20 points. That would have stopped out, right? And then after this one stopped out, you look for the same thing down here. You look for price to come down, retest it. What happens right here? Stop losses at this point. Again, 20 points. What happens here? Stopped out both ways. So that strategy I showed you guys with the SMA, it's not the best strategy. The thing is you'd have to use other confluences on top of that. So what I would probably use I would use the momentum indicator. So like for example, price would have came up right here. I would have saw that rejection. I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe I'll take a buy right here. My stop loss would have been right there. It would have maybe survived it because I would use at least a 30-point TP stop loss. That's usually what I'm using for the scalps. And that right there would have played through, right? So that's what I was saying. Like you can use certain strategies and indicators and stuff, but like once you add I think the momentum indicator is probably like the game changer for a lot of things here. So like for example, you have a buy signal right here before price breaks past it right there, retest, take the entry right there, nice push to the upside. This one over here would have lost, price would have came up. And then this is where you start to add other indicators. So for example, you have this right here, you have price breaking above. Trend meter right here is red, so maybe not take that. You basically want it to line up. So you want the green momentum, green trend meter, because if you would have taken this right here, you would have seen that this would have lost, obviously. Right. So again, same thing right here. Price breaks above, doesn't retest. Right here, price breaks below, never really retests. But this is how I create my strategies. So like I don't just create strategies by putting random stuff together. I'll usually start with a base for entry, and then I'll use other indicators here to identify confluences and other things to add on to it. So for example, like I just mentioned earlier, again, right here, price is bullish. Price comes back and retests it. It's not green, so I probably wouldn't have taken that. Price breaks below, retest right here. It's not red, so I wouldn't have taken that. Just trying to see if there's any entries here. No, so it looks like there's not very many entries here, really, when it comes down to it. So there'll be some days where there's entries, some days when there's not. But using the tools here to identify what you're looking for, like I said before, you can use these tools for a lot of things. It's not just for my strategies. If there's a specific strategy that you want, I can use my tools here to help you improve on like what you're looking for. But all right, guys, I think this might be it for the day. I just don't see anything happening here. Price again is now just consolidating around this area. I was hoping to see something like a V1 variation or a breakout V3 continuation. There wasn't even any breakout V3 continuations today. You can see there's a buy signal, no green candle. There's a red signal, no red candle. Buy signal, no green candle. There's just nothing here. No BV3s. So if you look at our stats from yesterday, the entries that came up were triple confluences, breakout V3 continuations, V1 variations, market flow V2s, MPS entries. Looking at the chart from today, there was actually none of those that came up. There's no V1 variations. There was no breakout V3 continuations. There was no MPS. There was no market flow V2. There was just nothing that came up today. So it's just one of those days where price kind of just, it doesn't work in your favor for the strategies that you're applying, even though you're looking for both directional and sideways entries. There was there's a high level momentum scalp that came up right here. There's a lower low. The buy signal right here broke and closed above it. So if anybody took that, I don't think anybody spotted that. Also is right at the session. So I don't think anybody was looking to take that there. I think that was it. I mean, looking over here, that's the only entry. There's another one right here actually that came out at 644. So there's a lower low, buy signal broke and closed past pivots 1 and 2. So the only entries that I can see from today were probably this one and this one right here, but I didn't spot them when they actually happened. Those are the only 2 entries I can see here and these were both sideways entries. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but I think that's about it for the day, guys. Price may climb up. So like looking at where price is currently at right now, this is what I was expecting to happen for the breakout. So let me just take another screenshot so that you guys can see. This is what I expected to happen today for the breakout because everything was bullish. So, I've been using the higher time frames to identify like what the direction should be. This is the direction that we initially looked for this morning. Everything was bullish. I was like, okay, price is going to push up and just break through further. But what happened here is we just had a bunch of manipulation to the downside. And then eventually it starts climbing up to where it's supposed to go, right? Because we expected price to be bullish here this morning. And that's just part of the game. Like sometimes that's what's going to happen in the market. You might have a clear view of like a bullish market and then market ends up coming down super heavy and then it just ends up coming all the way back up to where it's supposed to go. So it's all good. That's why I manage risk properly with those trades, especially the breakout. We're doing a 1 to 2. So even if I lose today, if I win tomorrow, it's going to make everything back up in profit. So I still have the stats over here. Let me just update the stats real quick. That'll probably help with a lot here. So our entry here was for a buy. Today's 11/21/24. It's for a buy, loss, -50. And then over here. So for the year so far, the stats right now are currently 44 wins, 58 losses, total of 105 trades, total profit of 1,200 points. So overall for the year so far with data that I currently have from April up until now, every single day of trades, it's pretty decent. Looking at the stats for November, just the month so far. So the stats for November so far are not the best. They're currently at about 50 points profit. It was 4 wins, 7 losses, total trades of 11 trades, total profit of 50 points right now, currently, with today's loss, unfortunately. Tomorrow's going to be the next trade. If tomorrow wins, we'll bring this back up to 150 in profit. So we'll take tomorrow's trade, and then hopefully that one brings us back up. And we'll see what happens, because next week is going to be Thanksgiving. So it's going to be a short week. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, just another reminder, next Monday, for the next 5 Mondays, I'll be doing a masterclass mentoring session. So it's free to everybody, open to the public. I'll be explaining to you guys how to do pretty much everything to get started trading with us, or just to get started trading in general. I'll go over module 1 and 2, basically all the platforms that we're using. I'll go over TradingView, show you guys all the tools on here, how everything works. I'll try to explain NinjaTrader. It's not really necessary. I think for a lot of new traders, I'll just have you guys trade directly on TradingView. I think that'll probably be the easiest way to do it. So I'll explain how to use TradingView. I'll try to explain how to use NinjaTrader, and I'll try to explain how to use TraderBait. For the next week, so the following week after that, I'll go over all the indicators right here. We'll go over every single indicator that we have. I'll explain how everything works, how this can be beneficial to you. And then the following week, we'll go over strategies. So we'll start off with directional strategies, and then probably go over to sideways strategies, and then breakout strategies. And I'll try to change things up here to include certain strategies that we've been looking at more often than not. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, there's just no entries for today, guys. Price has been in this huge choppy market pretty much the whole session. So there's not really too much here to take. As you can see, market open right here at 630. I'll mark up 630 right there, this blue line. There's no direction here. Price went down, went up, came back down the middle, came up, came back down, and now it's back up right here. It's back up to basically opening price from this morning. So, all right, guys, I guess that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here on Friday tomorrow as we wrap up this trading week.